why did you feel it was important to come here and be involved with this conference?
I don't think there's a lot of conferences in this country which bring so many talents in actually editing, journalism, research and actually education about journalism. So I was pretty flattered and privileged to be invited.
Mr. Salmond, what do you think the significance of holding the conference in Glasgow?
Well, it's really important. I mean, Alexander was kind enough to remind us, and perhaps Scotland needs a few reminders now and then, that this was the home of the Enlightenment. This is the place which started the world into a new way of thinking in the late 18th and early 19th century. So it's highly appropriate as the home of the Enlightenment that we have a conference which seeks to discover the truth and how the truth can be purveyed. It's quite interesting. Alexander had a couple of theses tonight, which was really interesting. One was that corruption, international corruption, was a source of world economic instability. And the second was a number of experiences of how difficult it is in various places where he operates to allow journalists to print the truth. I think both of these are salutary reminders that perhaps some of the things that preoccupy a free press in this country perhaps aren't as important as perhaps the things we should concentrate on.
Carrying on mentioning your speech tonight, you discussed the importance of investigative journalism in keeping the world transparent. As you say, investigative journalism, it's a costly business. How would you propose to fund this practice?
Yeah, my first comment, I think the First Minister comments about the speech, and his understanding are better than the speech. Well, first of all, we should be looking for actually entrepreneurs who will not as much think about how much money they can make on the press, but about, well, hopefully at least some respect they would get from the society to subsidize for as long as it is needed. Once the paper could become break-even. For example, in the Standard, we changed the model completely. We've been risking. We thought the Londoners would think, oh, it's another free sheet which is just for a few minutes you throw it away as garbage. And now we've proven it could be even better than it used to be, and we now have nearly 3.5 times more readers on a daily basis. We made it free, and the economics changed into a much more positive model. So we can experiment with printed media. Okay, online, yes, you should be very strong online, that's for sure. But if you ask me, I thought they will ask me the question: am I for the free model or am I? I am for the free model, really. The information should be free, but there should be some way out. I mean, in a bad markets like the ones in the recent years, where they say 35% of the journalists all around the world lost their jobs. The possibility could be that, like in the United States, when a lot of actually foundations and charitable institutions are pouring money into certain magazines, radio, or newspapers, understanding that is not less important than healthcare or education or culture. Otherwise, we're still sort of trying to experiment with different business models. Who knows? Let's wait and see. It's just a very bold experiment. Hope substantiated by success. That depends in turn by two things, which is talents of the journalists and attitudes of the public who read them.
That's the key. I mean, I'm commenting from the outside as a mere politician. I mean, but to me, it doesn't matter whether the paper's free or it's bought. It doesn't actually matter whether journalism is communicated through the internet or through the printed word. What matters is there's journalism. We've got lots and lots of news. What we're short of is journalism. I don't know about the third of journalists that were sacked in the economic crisis. The real question is, was it the right third or the wrong third? I suspect the way things are, it was the wrong third. What's the difference between Alexander's free product in London and, let's say, what's the difference between Alexander's free product in London and, let's say, the Metro, which circulates free and commuting? Well, the difference is the journalism. With the Metro, with great respect to the Metro, which often gives me some incredibly favourable headlines. It's not an investigative paper, it's just a a reprinter of news in a fairly concise fashion. The model Alexander has pursued with the Standard is to have a journalist-free paper, a serious free paper, a paper with journalism in it. So that accents the journalism, and what's going to make people buy a paper as opposed to reading the news on the internet? It's the journalism. It's not getting the information. Get the information from a multitude of sources now. In this hotel, this is where Alexander Lebedev, this is where Lebedev transmitted the first television pictures, in this hotel. Now what has allowed the press to survive the advent of pictures and moving and television? It's the journalism. That's the only thing that matters. How you convey the journalism is a secondary issue. That's whatever the economics dictate. It's the journalism that makes it worthwhile.